Whispers of the eternal flame. In the shadowed valleys of Veylora, where jagged cliffs pierced the sky and a perpetual mist wove through the trees, lay the village of Emberfall. This quiet settlement was a cradle of ancient mysticism, its thatched roofs adorned with carvings of flame motifs, its people stewards of a fading tradition tied to the eternal flame, a sacred fire said to burn within the Veiled Caverns, a network of glowing tunnels hidden beyond the cliffs. For generations, the flame had blessed Emberfall with warmth and prosperity, but a creeping darkness had snuffed its light, bringing cold winds and barren fields. The villagers whispered of a forgotten ritual, lost to time, that might rekindle the flame and restore their land. Kael, a young healer with a heart as steady as the cliffs, had grown up under this shadow. Orphaned when the darkness first descended, a night when the flame flickered and his parents vanished into the mist. He was raised by Elder Lysa, a frail woman with a voice like rustling leaves and hands marked by decades of tending the sick. Lysa taught Kael the art of herbal remedies and the power of belief, instilling in him a reverence for the flame. His eyes, a deep amber like embers, burned with a resolve to uncover the truth. The flame isn't gone, he would insist. It's waiting for us to remember. Lysa, her wisdom tempered by caution, warned of the cavern's dangers, mirages that preyed on hope, guardians of ash that thrived on despair, and a core of silence that silenced the bold. One winter solstice, when the darkness deepened, blanketing Emberfall in frost and silencing the streams, Kael could delay no longer. The village's stores dwindled, and the children's cheeks grew gaunt. Lysa called a council under the ancient yew tree, her voice frail but resolute, urging patience, though her eyes mirrored the village's fading hope. Kael, seated among the gathered, felt a spark ignite within him. He had deciphered a fragment of an old chant in Lysa's scrolls, hinting at the Flameheart, a crystal said to hold the fire's essence. Determined, he gathered a staff carved with protective runes and a cloak woven with threads of resilience, venturing into the Veiled Caverns at twilight. The cavern entrance was a jagged stone, its edges glowing with a faint dying ember light. The air grew heavy with the scent of ash and moss, and whispers arose, soft at first, like the crackle of a dying fire, then urgent echoing pleas. We them, rekindle us. Kael gripped his staff, its runes pulsing faintly, and stepped inside. The caverns unfolded, a labyrinth of glowing tunnels lined with crystalline walls, their light fading with each turn. Stalactites hung like frozen tears, and the growler trembled subtly, as if the earth itself mourned. As Kael descended, the cavern stirred. Shadows morphed into spectral figures, ancient healers and priests, their forms translucent, reciting tales of sacrifice, lost cures, and fading faith. Ashen tendrils lashed out, forcing visions of his parents' disappearance, their silhouettes swallowed by mist, stirring a grief he had buried. The tunnels shifted, paths collapsing into voids that whispered his name. Fear gripped him, his breath shallow, but he clung to Lysa's lessons. Belief is the spark that ignites, she had said. Drawing on that strength, he pressed forward, chanting the fragment he had learned. Hours blurred into a timeless night, the staff's light wavering with each gust of cold air. The whispers grew louder, weaving fears of failure, isolation, and the village's collapse under his burden. Yet, amid the turmoil, a memory surfaced. Lysa singing a hymn of renewal, its notes a balm for his childhood fears. With renewed vigor, he navigated the shifting tunnels, guided by the chant's rhythm. Deeper in, he reached a vast chamber aglow with a dim, pulsating light. At its heart stood the Flameheart, a crystalline orb cradled in a pedestal of obsidian, its surface cracked, leaking tendrils of shadow that chilled the air. The whispers peaked, revealing not threats, but a cry. The orb held the flame's essence, extinguished by forgotten rituals. Kael approached, his heart racing, and touched the Flameheart. Visions flooded his mind, villages thriving under the flame's warmth, healers saving lives, communities united in song. Amid the decline, glimmers of hope shone, acts of kindness in famine, a child's prayer piercing silence, a healer's touch reviving the weak. The caverns weren't cursed by malice. They languished from neglect, their spirit yearning for revival. With steady hands, Kael began the chant, weaving it with Emberfall's hymns, his voice rising like a prayer. The orb responded, its cracks sealing, and a wave of heat surged outward. Shadows dissolved, ash bloomed into embers, and the air warmed, carrying the scent of burning cedar. Emerging at dawn, the first light igniting the cliffs, Kael was met with awed gasps. He held a shard of the Flameheart, its glow casting warmth across his soot-streaked face. Snow melted, fields greened, and streams flowed anew. Lysa embraced him, tears in her eyes, whispering, "You've rekindled our soul." The Veiled Caverns, once feared, became a pilgrimage site, its tunnels now echoing with songs of renewal. Emberfall thrived again. Fields overflowed with grain. Children danced by the reborn streams, and the village square rang with shared tales. Kael became a healer of legend, leading rituals to honor the flame, his shard a symbol of restored warmth. He formed a council with Lysa, preserving the village's rights and teaching the young to cherish their heritage. Festivals blossomed, celebrating the Flameheart with fire dances and chants, honoring Kael's bravery. Years later, as Kael's hair grayed, he faced a new trial. A distant village, shrouded in cold, sought his aid. With Lysa's blessing, he journeyed forth, carrying the shard and a new chant. The trek was harsh, through icy passes and shadowed woods, but his faith held. When the first ember glowed in foreign soil, warmth returned, and the villagers rejoiced. His legend spread, a light across Veylora. In his final days, Kael returned to the caverns, now a haven of light, one solstice eve. As snow dusted the cliffs and the flame pulsed brightly, he sang the hymn, his voice carrying over Emberfall. As he closed his eyes, the caverns hummed in harmony. The villagers gathered below felt a warmth spread, knowing Kael's courage had ignited a legacy that would endure. The tale of Kael and the eternal flame lived on, a story of a healer who turned cold into light, whispered across Veylora. Pilgrims visited the caverns, leaving offerings, herbs, stones, songs, crafting a shrine to the flame's power. His legacy inspired others to seek their own sparks, proving that even in the deepest chill, belief could blaze anew.